Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I am so incredibly pumped to get into today's topic because, honestly, the story of the Samurai Blue at the 2026 World Cup is one of those rare, magical sports narratives that completely defies the final scoreline. I mean, if you just glance at the tournament bracket, you probably think you know exactly how this ended. But trust me, you really don't. We're going to break down what actually happened and why the entire footballing world is suddenly looking over their shoulders at Japan.
Okay, let's dive into this. On paper, if a team gets knocked out in the round of 32, pundits immediately whip out the word failure, right? They pack up their spreadsheets, write a slightly depressing column, and move on. But did Japan really fail? I'm going to strongly and happily challenge that assumption right now. Because when we actually peel back the layers of this tournament, you'll see this so-called early exit was actually a massive, roaring success.
Section 1, the end of the run.
Ouch. Right. There it is. The math doesn't lie. Japan's 2026 World Cup officially ended in Houston, Texas, thanks to Brazil, a 2-1 defeat. Look, I wanted to get this out there immediately because we can't hide from the final result. But getting this out of the way means we can hit the rewind button. Once you see exactly how they got to Houston and what they actually did to Brazil while they were there, you're going to understand why this loss genuinely felt like a victory lap.
Section 2, a warning to Europe.
So Japan didn't just sneak through a lucky group. They literally kicked the door down. They open up against the Netherlands, an absolute heavyweight, and secure a 2-2 draw. Then they pull out a 1-1 draw with Sweden. Now, I have to laugh a bit here, because you just know those European giants looked at their schedule, saw Japan, and thought, oh, sweet, an easier night, we'll rest a few legs. Actually, scratch that. They probably thought it was a guaranteed 3 points. Instead, they found themselves completely stuck in the mud against a brilliant Japanese setup. Let's just summarize the damage from that group stage. 3 games played, 0 losses, 2 European heavyweights utterly stunned. But I really want to highlight that last point, a 4-0 win over Tunisia. That wasn't just a win, guys. That was a masterclass. In a World Cup group stage where every single mistake is magnified, Japan showed absolutely 0 nerves, just total, flawless control.
Section 3, the Houston heartbreak.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the complete collapse of expectation versus reality. The expectation. Well, you draw Brazil and it's time for the quiet Cinderella exit. You swap some shirts, take your selfies, and head to the airport. But the reality, 96 minutes of absolute, terrifying sweat for the Brazilians. Seriously, imagine the sheer panic for a 5-time world champion realizing the team across from them is absolutely refusing to go quietly. Let's walk through this timeline because it reads like an absolute thriller. First half, completely out of nowhere. Kaishu Sano strikes and totally stuns Brazil. Japan takes the lead. I mean, you could practically hear the sports bars in Tokyo exploding. Brazil just couldn't find their rhythm. Mid-game, Casemiro manages to level it up with a header. But then, Japan just digs in. For over an hour, they defend, they frustrate, and they make Brazil bleed for every single agonizing inch of the pitch. So, the crucial point is 96. Man, we have all felt this exact kind of sports pain, right? That collective, agonizing groan when a stoppage time goal just ruins the dream. It took until the 96th minute for Gabriel Martinelli to finally find a winner. 2 minutes away from forcing extra time against the 5-time world champs. It's heartbreaking for sure, but think about the sheer quality it takes to hold out that long. They didn't get blown out. They got caught at the absolute final breath.
Section 4, closing the global gap. And this brilliantly illustrates the real story of the Samurai Blues tournament. Japan didn't lose to a single European team. Drawing the Netherlands, drawing Sweden, and then pushing Brazil right to the 96th minute. Look, you do not get a lucky bracket that looks like that. This undeniably proves Japan has closed the gap against real, terrifying competition. No luck, just leveled up. We need to completely toss out the whole narrative of the plucky underdog riding a wave of good fortune. This run wasn't built on soft opposition or fluke bounces. It was built on highly sophisticated football. Japan is playing at the absolute highest level, matching both the tactics and the mental resilience of the world's best.
Section 5. What happens next?
Let's bring it all together. An undefeated group stage, pushing the 5-time world champs to the 96th minute. This isn't just a recap of a tournament where Japan got knocked out. This is a downright origin story. They're leaving early, yeah, but they are absolutely not leaving diminished. The experience they've gained here practically guarantees that next time around, they are going to be an absolute nightmare to play against. Which leaves us with this looming, incredibly exciting question. The foundation is set. The fear factor is totally gone. They know they can stand toe-to-toe with Europe and South America's finest. So, look ahead to 2030. Who is going to be the next global giant to fall to the samurai blue? The rest of the football world is officially on notice. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see you for the next one.